So we were talking about employee benefits, right? And
Yes.
yeah, and we were basically discussing employment engagement, and we're saying that employers offer employees benefits.
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, what I'd like to ask you is, aside from, the way that you said it was, you said employers offer employees employment benefits in exchange for productivity, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Look, for me, I've come across that point of view. I just don't think that point of view is faithful to the actual relationship, because the way the employment relationship is supposed to work is that you're supposed to be hired for a job, and that's your job.
Yes.
All right. And your
Yes.
salary, you're getting paid a salary for doing the job. And
That's
therefore,
correct.
the actual exchange is I give you a salary and you get productive.
That's right.
All right. So for me, from my point of view, I don't see employment engagement as given in exchange for productivity. Although they say that in the literature, if you read about it as well, they say the way that I see it, employment engagement is done to retain employees, meaning to compete with competitors, so that they don't take your
That's
good
right.
people. All right.
Yes.
But also to attract, talent to the company.
Yes.
I don't think it has
That's
much
right.
to do with productivity, to be honest with you.
Okay. When I refer to productivity, I'm now, for the company to become highly profitable, the company has to put in place certain rewards or reward systems in place. You see, for you to exceed your job or the job that you have been hired to do. So if you let's just say you make 20 boxes a day, and the company feels that, okay, we actually need 30 boxes a day. Now, how do we achieve that? We achieve that by engaging with the employees and say, look, we can see that you guys are working hard and you are doing the job that you are being hired for. But what is the possibility of you to produce more than what you are producing? If you can do that, this is what I am offering to give you in terms of incentive. So you incentivize the person, or when the company makes profit, you sort of implement things like gain share, where you will say, because you have exceeded the expectations, this is what we are going to pay you. And it is formularized. You base it on a particular formula as to how it's going to be paid.
Okay, so
this is what I'm referring to, not your actual daily production that you do, but it is something over and above your daily work.
But wouldn't those more fall under performance incentives?
Yes, it is actually.
Yeah, because for me, as far as I understood it, even in my experience while working for various companies, employment engagement is things that is more benefits related rather than performance rewards, right? So performance rewards are things like bonuses, things like commission, right? Commission is not a benefit. You see what I mean?
Commission, yeah.
Yeah. So what you're talking about
fall under conditions of employment.
Yeah, and it's So basically, conditions of employment are attached to things like performance over and above certain targets and target related performance. Whereas employment engagement is, how do we make our employees feel more at home when they're at work, right? How do we make them more comfortable? How do we make them want to work here and stay here forever and live their whole lives basically here, instead of wanting to leave for other companies to work for other companies, right? Whereas performance sort of, I'd say, incentives are more like do more work so that you can earn more.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously these things are connected, but they're still quite separate. So
yes, because they're interrelation with one another.
Yeah. So look, employee engagement for me, for example, when I got hired at a insurance company, they asked me how much I want to
Yes.
get paid, right? So we're talking about benefits. So they asked me how much I want to get paid. I said, look, 12,000 rand at the time, and they said, okay, that's great. But what they didn't tell me in the interview, they didn't tell me that the 12,000 rand that they're gonna give me is not cash.
Yes.
They basically
Yes.
called it total cost to company.
Yes.
Okay, and then what they did is that they gave me 7,000 rand, and then 5,000 rand basically paid towards the benefits that they were giving me.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? So actually,
Yes.
are
Yes.
they giving me benefits, or am I paying for them myself? Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, yes, yes. Because remember, some of these, when you talk total cost to company, they are built into that, depending on the level of the position that you occupy.
Yeah, but the thing is, I totally understand that, but it's not just the total cost to company. It's also total. It's also a cost to me. Why is it a cost to me? Why did some of the money come out of my salary? Do you see what I'm saying? I'm not actually asking you that question.
Yes.
I'm just saying that this is what I've come across, and we're talking about benefits.
Yes.
So I mean, the benefits were airtime, phone airtime with a phone.
Yes.
They gave petrol. We had medical aid cover. All right. I don't remember. Yeah, I
Car
think.
allowance,
I'm sorry.
like car allowance, fuel allowance.
No, we didn't get a car allowance, but a fuel allowance we got. All right.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that money had to come out of my salary to pay towards those things,
Yes.
right? The company also paid the rest, but I'm saying that the company should have paid for all of it and not, because my salary is my salary. Why are they using my salary to give me benefits? Because benefits are a way for them to say, to compete against their competitors, to make sure that I don't want to leave them for their competitors. But they're having me pay them, right? Pay for their sort of own marketing to me. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying, because when you talk total cost, it basically means that instead of the company saying that we are going to pay you a basic salary and the rest of the cost will be carried by the company, right? They would then say, whereas we would have given you, let's say for argument's sake, 200,000 per annum, we are going to give you 250,000 per annum, so that the 50,000 covers the component of what would have been your cost.
And what is the salary that you would have agreed on in that example?
The salary that you'd have agreed on would be 200,000.
Yeah. So basically, that makes sense to me. I think that's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
In my case, they didn't
Yes.
do that though. You see, the agreement
Yes.
was 200,000, and then they pay me cash 150, and they use the 50,000 to pay for my benefits.
Yeah. So you would have you were supposed to negotiate, to make it more to your advantage, because the companies are working different, because some companies would pay their bargaining employees basic salary. So if your basic salary is 10,000 rand per month, any other cost over and above that is carried by the company. Then you get your management employees who then be paid total cost to company.
But I don't think
so. That's where the problem is.
Look, I don't think I don't see it that way, because the way I don't see it that way is that, yes, when an employee meets with an employer during a job interview, they meet to negotiate.
Yes.
Right? And this is actually one of the reasons why I'm doing this project. Okay? The thing is, yes, you have to negotiate, and in a negotiation, you're going to have things that you might have to compromise and so on. But this kind of a deal
Yes.
where they're supposed to be, I'm paying for something that they're supposed to be paying for. I don't think we can leave that up to my negotiation skills. It's just wrong, right? I mean, there's things that in a negotiation you can get out because you negotiated well for yourself, and there's things that you shouldn't be getting
Yes.
out, no matter how good you are, right? And the reason why I'm doing this project is to say, and this is one of the, you're not the first person I've interviewed from a union regarding this, because my issue is that unions are not doing enough. I also asked you this question. They're not doing enough because they're coming after the recruitment process, and they are not
That's correct.
necessarily in the interview. I've heard that they are in the interview as an observer, only to observe, and then they can put their input, after the whole interview process. But that's not useful for the employee, for the potential employee. It's not useful for us, people who did want us to join after we've been employed. The union has to be there representing the potential employee, which is why, I asked you why they only recruit people that are employed. Because people that are employed were once unemployed. So for me, I think the reason why I didn't negotiate better is because I was at a disadvantage, as the Labor Relations Act already argues. It says the relationship between the employee and the employer is unequal. So even if we're getting into it, I'm sitting there in front of a panel of people, all right, and then I'm alone.
Yes.
Okay. And I'm unemployed.
Yes.
You understand? And the employer has the support of the employees, and they have the support of my family members who are at home saying to me, you need to find a job. To me, you need to work. So my family members at home are actually on the side of the employer to say to me, when I make the employer happy to get this job.
Yeah.
Rather than,
Yes.
and so you see, I'm already coming at the interview short-handed. I can't actually be as assertive as I should be, because then they'll say, no, you're rude, no, you're overly confident, you're arrogant, and then they won't hire you, especially if you know your worth.
Yes. Okay, but then I'm sure in some instances when positions are being advertised, they would be advertised with a salary. And the salary, they will say for this position that you are applying for, the salary will be in this band that you are going to be paid should you be successful. So then where does negotiations now come in, because what the salary band of that position is? So I'm sure in most instances, potential employees don't even get to negotiate for salaries because they already know the salary band in which they are going to be paid.
Yeah,
Not
I think what you're
unless
saying makes sense.
the salary is at a management level that is not disclosed during the advertisement. And when you get to the interview, they ask you what your previous salary was, where would you want to be remunerated on? So obviously, if you are getting 300,000 per annum, and the position that you have applied for in a particular company is most probably at a higher level, you would most probably do your research maybe first before you even apply with it for you to apply for that position. So they would not necessarily come out right to say the position that you have applied for, that you have been interviewed for, it falls within this band because of the confidentiality of the salaries at that level. But what they would most probably do is, obviously there would be a minimum and a maximum company up to a maximum. So they would most probably appoint you at a minimum of that salary band without you having to negotiate. But if where you are coming from, you are getting remunerated at a higher salary level than their minimum salary, that's when you would most probably get an opportunity to negotiate and say, look, this is where I was from my previous company. Can we at least negotiate and see how best we can
but how would
place
they
me
know
in terms of salary?
How would they know how much you were earning from where you're coming from?
Because these are questions that they obviously ask.
Yeah, but these are not. I mean, that is not a fair question. You can't ask me what I was earning, where I was coming from. You understand? And this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Mm.
This is. I mean, you've got firstly, it's not just with managerial level jobs that hide or show, potential remuneration for a position, an advertised position. Right now, you've got sales positions that don't show. Right, you've got very entry level positions that also don't show, and some of them show. Not everyone hides, but not everyone shows. And some jobs, and in increasing a number of jobs now, they're asking for what do you call these? Bank statements. They're asking for bank statements. They're asking for not bank statements. What are these? When you earn your salary, I'm forgetting. What is that paper that you get that shows how much you earn? Pay slip. Thank you.
Your pay slip.
Yeah. They're asking for your pay slip for where you were. And the problem with that, you can see the problem with that, right?
Yes.
So this is unacceptable. It is unacceptable behavior, but they do this because they know that a lot of people have been brainwashed into sort of accepting this unwarranted power they have. You understand? And now for me, I'm trying to. This is why I have you here to basically question this from the union perspective. The union is not there. It is not there in the interview, right? And these are the questions that we're going to get to. But I think so far you've answered my question by saying that we do agree that employees are not supposed to be paying for benefits. Am I correct? Do you agree with that, or because the way I understood your answer is that you agree that when an employer employs someone and they offer that person benefits, that person shouldn't be paying for those benefits?
Because the benefits are over and above what you are earning.
That's why they're called benefits, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What would you say is the distinction between an employer and an employee, right? So if you have a company, you employ me, okay? Why are you my boss? That's what I want to, I'm just getting back to that question. Why are you my boss?
Okay, in a nutshell, I am the one who requires a particular service from you. In order for me to remunerate you for that or compensate you for that service. So you work, and I'm the one who's going to ensure that you are being compensated for the job that you have done. Because at the end of the day, there has to be someone who is accountable for the job that is done by somebody that reports to that person.
Mm-hmm. So
you have your subordinates.
Yeah,
you have your subordinates that report to you. You oversee the execution of their duties or execution of the job, to ensure that the production is delivered to its maximum and correctly.
All right. Let me just, so basically that answers my question. But look at it this way: from the union, as far as the union is concerned, right? The employment relationship we've discussed is unequal. Okay, the employer, you employ me, isn't it? Now, the way that I've written it here, I'm saying the employer is the owner, and the employee is labor, and labor is human resource, right?
Yes.
Yeah, labor is human resource. So what I'm saying is, human resource is considered to be an asset for the company, isn't it?
Yes.
Or a liability, depending on how you want to look at it. But basically,
Yes.
it is an asset whose constant maintenance by paying its salary. So the salary is maintenance of human resource. And you have to pay its
Yes.
salary every month to maintain it, right?
Yes.
And that salary is a liability, right?
Yes.
Now, here's what I'm getting at. The employer has the right to get rid of assets when he or she does not make profits. So the employer has the right to get rid of assets, and labor is an asset or a liability, depending on how you want to look at it, right? So they can get rid of what do you call? They can get rid of the employee if the company is not making enough money. All right.
That's right.
Okay. So now the thing is, I think that is fair. If the company doesn't make enough money, how can it even pay the employee? So they have to get rid of the employee. But the problem that we're seeing, especially in the capitalist markets, is that this is sometimes abused. You know, if a company will say, a company that makes profit of millions, even billions, right, says it sets itself a target for the end of the year or the end of the quarter to say, we want to make 5 billion this quarter. And then they don't make 5 billion this quarter, but they make 3 billion profit. So that's profit, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's after they've paid all their employees, right? And so because they didn't meet that target, they decide, okay, you know what, we're going to lay off some employees. We're going to lay off some workers. Now, of course, unions are there to fight such things. But right now, I'm speaking to the nature. What is it about labor relative to the employer, all right, that gives the employer that kind of a power to just be able to lay off in terms of job security? I'm talking about job security here, right? Where do unions come in and the collective agreements come in to basically mitigate the impact of such decisions by employers?
There is a process called Section 189. Now, obviously, when an employer, one would not know what the financial impact would be on the side of the employer. What is their expectation? Because we would not know what is it that they are aiming to achieve. Yes, they want to be profitable. They want to make huge profits, but to an extent that they are so greedy. They are so greedy that if they don't make the extra billions that they wanted to make, they would embark on a Section 189 process where they would sort of retrench employees. Meeting targets are, I think, are set by employers just for the sake of setting those targets to maximize their profits.
I feel the same way. Yes.
Yeah, to maximize their profits. But if they see that, no, but we wanted much more than that. Yes, what we have achieved is okay, but we want profits that will actually, keep us in the loop for the next 6 months to 12 months. Now, because it only keeps them for it calculates up to 6 months, then they would say, you know what, not because we did not meet the target, but because I do not want to share those profits with so many people. Now, I have reached those profits that I would have wanted, even if it's not as much as I have aimed to achieve. But I think for now, I am happy with what I have. Let me get rid of these few people. Do with those that will remain, even if they're idle. But they won't idle because they will still be pushed to reach targets and make maximum profit. And then after 12 months of retrenchment, they then come back and say, now we want to, get back to that wheel. Yeah, and hire them back. They work for 6 months, 12 months, they make their money, and this is how they become rich. So because they are using this asset, as you have referred to, they are using them, and you know, we as unions, especially with me, I always let's just say during wage negotiations, more often than not, you go to the company, approach the company, and say, "Come, let us engage on wage increases." And then the company will then come with excuses and say, we don't make money, we intend to embark on Section 189. And I have a practical example where when I engaged with a company, the company sort of retaliated with Section 189. And I sort of paused the process because of other commitments. And then while I had paused that, the company then employed casuals. Now, when you say you are not making money, the company is not doing well, and you have an intention to embark on Section 189 retrenchments, and then after a week or a month, then you hire casuals, then it means that your business is back, the company is back into making money. And hence they have now sort of shy away from continuing with the implementation of their intention to embark on retrenchments. So we had a similar situation where the company came and we paused the process, and then after that, the employees told me that the company has now employed just over 20 casuals.
So
and that gave us an indication.
During these discussions, do you gain access to their financials?
Not necessarily. We're supposed to. Now, when the company says we are not making money, the first thing that we ask is, then you'll have to then show us your audited financial statements, not just because they can take statements and say these are our financial statements, or they will give us income and expenditure, or they will give us not even income, they will say these are our sales. Last month, our sales was at this level, now our sales have dropped. So that's not good enough because it does not give us a clear picture as to what are they getting as an income and what are they using as an expenditure. Because you need to see the movements in the audited financial statements as to whether there's monies that are being invested, there's monies that are being transferred to another account. There could be an offshore account where they hide most of the money and then they come and say, but we are not making money. We had, for instance, a situation where an auditor will write a letter, and when we go for wage negotiations, the company will say, we are not doing well. Our auditors have confirmed in a letter that we are not doing well. Then I would say to them, I can also write that letter as if I'm an auditor and say, you guys are not doing well. So that is not good enough. You need to submit your financial statements, audited financial statements for the past 2 years or 3 years, so that we can see the trend. Otherwise, now that is what ought to happen. Even with Section 189, when they decide to retrench, they also say, you are saying you are not doing well. We want to see your financial statements so that we can satisfy ourselves.
So them submitting their financial statements, is that a requirement that has been stipulated in the bargaining council agreements, or the, what do you call them? Bargaining agreements. Is it stipulated?
Because how else will we cannot accept their word when they say, no, we are not doing well, and say, okay, we understand. So continue with the process. They have to prove.
And it's in black and white that they have to prove it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because we acquire that information through Section 16, which is disclosure of information.
Okay. So now,
say the company.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, just tell me this. From your point of view, can you just explain for us who don't fully understand, What is job security?
Job security would basically be a process where I apply for a job. How could I put it? Apply for a job that the company or the company need to have, that is going to last for a long-term period, without the company having to embark on a process of employee reduction. So I have to be placed in a job that is competitive with companies that are in the same market as the company that I've applied for. And that job must be able to cater for me in terms of housing, in terms of medical aid. It must cater for me in terms of whatever needs.
Those are benefits
that I would want.
Those are benefits,
yes.
though.
But yes.
Job security, doesn't it focus mainly, and I would even say only, on the guarantee that you will be employed for a certain period of time?
Yes.
Okay. What I want to ask now, because I do understand you've half answered this question already, but only halfway, because so far you've spoken about what unions do to assure the jobs of their members. During discussions pertaining to, you said Section 1.8 for retrenchments.
189.
189. 189. Sorry, thanks for that.
Yes.
So I understand that part, and I think it's quite effective. All right, to say, okay, fine, show us the proof that there's no other way. Right, give us your financials and so on and so forth. Now, as far as the bargaining council agreements and discussions and so on, aside from the requirement to provide these financial documents during that discussions on that Section 189, what do unions and how deeply do they discuss with employers regarding job security? What other assurances are there other than we will ask for financial statements, right? We will ask for audited financial statements if they want to fire you. What other assurances do you give members?
I'll probably, for a lack of a better word, we would negotiate or set up collective agreements with a company in which the company undertakes not to shed any jobs for a period of 12 months to ensure that our employees are secured in terms of jobs for 12 months. That's one of the things that we sort of engage with the employers to make sure that they don't shed any jobs. Now, in some instances, especially when we talk about Section 189, when the company says, when it is genuine that the company is struggling financially, then we have several options of which one of the options would be embarking on short time. To ensure that employees or the company does not embark on retrenchments. We would say, okay, fine, because we do not want to see our employees losing jobs as a result of Section 189. Let us agree on, implementing short time when employee is working 8 hours. We could say, let's agree on them working for 7 hours. Or where employees are working 5 days a week, we can agree to let them work 4 days a week.
Okay.
That's short time in making sure that employees do not lose their jobs as a result of Section 189.
But it seems like these discussions are focused a lot on employees and what employees would have to change in order to keep the company afloat. Right?
Yes.
What is part of your discussions in your experience with employers? What changes have employers have had to make to also keep the company afloat?
No, I think short time is
No, I mean,
Short time
for
is
example,
part of,
if I'm a boss and you are
yes,
sitting across the table, you are representing your members, and then we're
yes,
discussing. Then I say, look, we need to do short time because short time means I pay your members less, okay, because they work
yes,
less, okay. But are
yes.
the employers also saying, look, I'm going to now, instead of buying the new BMW I wanted to buy, now I'm going to buy a Toyota Corolla or a Golf, right? So do you have in those discussions employer saying this is how also my salary is being cut?
No, no. In most cases, employers would always look at how they can reduce or disadvantage. I'm saying employees never look at cutting their own salaries. They always look at targeting your bargaining unit employees, because I think this is something that most of the unions overlook, because when they start with Section 189, the first thing that we are thinking is our members, because we go into a consultation process with the employer to safeguard the jobs of our members. But we never go to an extent of saying, but what about your salary? What about the people who are not members of our union, for instance? What about some of your management level employees' salaries? Are you looking at cutting that? Then they would often say, no, but at this stage, the only areas that are affected is where your members are working.
And
So it gives one a different sense that, by the way, some of these companies are anti-unions. So because we are very problematic as unions, now they want to limit the access of having this unionized environment within their companies. And it is a reality because it happens.
So basically, look, I'm getting a sense that unions in general, they are somehow not as assertive as they should be, or maybe they should be, because I don't really, I don't have any experience, but that they're not as, the way I see it, that they are not as assertive as they could be, right, when representing their members in these meetings. Is there something that is somehow intimidating them? Why would they accept such silly explanations and excuses from employers? Are they somehow intimidated? What's going on there?
Insofar as other unions are concerned, that is why you would find if there is more than one union in a company, a particular union will side with the employer. And whereas we, on the other hand, can see that whatever the other union is agreeing to is not in the interest of the members or their members. So there would always be that conflict. And that is why you'll find that some of the members would see that, but this union is actually working better than this one. Perhaps we should jump ship and go to this one, because we can see results, we can see what this union is doing, and so on and so forth. This is something that actually happened with us this year, because I, for one, work differently, because I'm always in trouble with management, because they would always say I fight with them, just because I'm looking after the interest of the members.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm representing my members, and so on. Then what the employer would then do is the employer would invite us as joint labor. But when they are supposed to share information, they will share that information with the union that is less problematic. And when you ask for the same information, they will say, no, go and get that information from your joint labor leaders.
Yeah.
Because as unions, we don't ask for information from other unions.
Yeah,
because companies are custodians of agreements and policies. And they need to ensure that that information is made available.
Okay, let me just, you said as unions, you don't ask for information from other unions. You said that, right?
Yes, we ought not to, because then you'll have a lot of grandstanding. It's more like you submit to this union.
Wow.
And this is a problem that is often created by the employer. We had a situation like that where there's 2-3 unions in this company nationally. So there's one union that is called a majority union. Then you have our union that is the second biggest union, and then you have a third one that is the third biggest union. Now, when we go to negotiations, we go there as joint labor, and we're called by management social partners. We negotiate, we have our labor caucuses, and then we go back and present our case to management. But there will always be disagreements. And when we put our disagreements forward, and it looks like our disagreements are supported, because when you go there, you go with a mandate from the members. And if you don't present the mandate from the members, you are in trouble. And members would oftenly resign because you do not listen to them. We as union must listen to our members, take a mandate and present that mandate. We cannot change a mandate at a negotiating table. If something else comes up, we have to go back and get a new mandate or a fresh mandate from the members. So we had a situation where the other union realized they wanted to sign, but we were a problem to them because they align themselves with management. They don't represent their members to the fullest. So they go there, if management comes with something, or they go with a mindset to say, you know what, when we get to this percentage, we are going to sign. Whereas the members say, no, you cannot sign when you get there. Management, you have to push management to a point where they can go up. And then you come back to us, give feedback, get a fresh mandate, you go back. So we had a situation like that where we have actually indicated to members, because we give them feedback jointly that this is what is happening, what has happened, and this is what the other union did that we did not agree with. And as a result, members will say, yeah, it's been long that we saw this one is selling us out. It's time that we resign. And how does management retaliate? Well, they realize that this union has now become strong in representing their members and they are problematic. We are going to make sure that whatever they come to request from us, we will not agree. But when the other union comes and asks for something, they agree. And it's still happening, even up until today. So some of our unions, they side with management, actually.
Yeah. So for me, what I'd like to ask you, I mean, the union space understands the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to uplift the working class. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the union space. Isn't there a conflict of interest when you start having competition amongst unions? I mean, for me, it doesn't...
Amongst the unions?
Yeah, if you start having competition amongst unions, where unions start competing for members, then doesn't that go against the bigger mission? Because, I mean, if you look at what you're talking about...
Certainly.
Yeah.
Yes, certainly. Look, if there was transparency from the word-go in terms of how the union is servicing its members, that is why you have different unions. You may have a union in a particular workplace that is the only union that is organizing in that workplace. But those members immediately, when they pick up that they cannot trust this union anymore, or the union is not as transparent as they thought they would be, they go outside. They do research. They will see that here is a union that is also organizing within our industry. So the scope of the union must talk to the industry in which you want to go and and organize. A practical example, there is a company that I got a call that there is this company that is looking for a union. They do have a union, but they are not happy with the union in terms of service delivery, in terms of representation, and they speak the same language that of things that are happening in other companies, saying that, but this union is in cahoots with the employer. They listen to the employer. Whatever the employer says, they do. So we want somebody, a union that is going to listen to us rather than listening to the union, to the employer. So we actually have gone to an extent of having a meeting with the potential members, and those that we have met have explained to us as to why they are seeking a new union. And the first thing they ask is our constitution. They'll ask whether the union is registered and so on. So we did that. The guys were happy, and yeah, we are busy with that process of getting our union recognized. So because they are not happy with that one, they go. When they're not happy with our union, they will move to another one, up to an extent where they will tell themselves that there's no need to have a union because all the unions are the same.
Yeah. So basically, competition amongst unions is good because if a union is lazy and does not service its members, members then have other choices of unions to join. Okay. But then take the competition too far in terms of, now crossing the line in terms of corruption and so on, where unions even abandon the mandates given to them by members. All right.
Yes.
In order to somehow undermine their competitors with the employer, right? To put the other, because the way that you're saying it is this union will align with the employer to undermine their competitor union, so that it looks like the union that is doing better than because the employer likes it. I'm not sure.
Well, not necessarily that. Are you saying that the union that is aligned with the employer will come across as though they are doing better?
Well, they come across as though they're doing better to the employer, but the employees will see that it's not actually representing their interests.
It's not the case.
So, but to me, it seems like a lose-lose. It seems like a lose-lose situation for the union that aligns itself with the employer. I mean, aside from what I would think bribery or something like that, or corruption, why would a union align and abandon its mandate given to it by its members, knowing what they get into trouble and they lose members? Why would they risk it?
We have always said that we suspect that there is something in it for them. Because if they say to management, we need this, management will do it by all means. We don't know. There's a whole lot of under-the-table benefits that such unions would probably get. And it's an open secret because some have indicated that, no, these ones, they when they want to go to fly somewhere, they just talk to the employer and say, I've got members that I want to go and address to make sure that they don't join this union. So obviously, because this union is problematic, and management does not want people in unions that talk too much, people in unions that would, when there's issues that are not resolved, will refer the matters to the CCMA or the Statutory Council or the Labour Court.
So these are
in our case.
Yeah.
So in our case, this is exactly what is happening, where we talk to management and would say we're having these issues and those issues, and these issues have been there for a very long time, and we are not happy with the way you are dealing with the issues. So, and then we will be told that it's an internal matter, must be resolved internally, and if it is not resolved, then it can be escalated to the national office of the union. So you have to wait. If you have to wait for them to tell you what to do, you will never get where you want to be. So for one, would not wait until it is resolved internally, because yes, it is the process. This process has been coming for a very long time, and nobody has actually acted on that. And when it's escalated, only then will management say, but we were not aware of this, whereas they were aware. Now that the matter is going to the CCMA, they will say, no, but it's premature for you to send a matter there without us having resolved it. Yeah. So that is a very big problem, and this is what we are sitting with.
So these benefits that you're talking about, you're saying that the unions would align with the employer, because the employer has offered certain benefits. Do they offer these benefits to the leadership of the union or to the union as a whole? Because to you, what you're saying it sounds like the benefits that these unions are getting benefit the union as a whole. If they're saying if they can give flights, free ticket or flights they can fly to any destination in service of the union to get more members for the union, right? Like they say, yes. I want to go to make sure they don't join this union. That seems to be benefiting the union, yes. Right? But it doesn't benefit the members.
Yes. It would, in this particular instance, because the employer would want to retain the relationship they have with certain shop stewards in the workplace.
Yes.
When I say union, I would be most probably be referring to individual people within the company.
Leadership.
So you've got shop stewards or maybe full-time shop stewards that are working for the company and who will be sitting in negotiations. For the first time in my career, that I have come across a situation where a company uses shop stewards as part of, I'm talking about mere shop stewards, not structures of the union, that are negotiating. You have union officials present, but then those shop stewards will be the ones that are calling the shots. Now, they are likely to agree to whatever the company is giving because they will be benefiting at the end of the day. In terms of, because they always agree.
So you're talking about
that they ought not to agree.
Yeah. Okay, let's differentiate between these benefits, because when you say they will be benefiting, you're talking about the individuals, and a benefit that benefits the individual is something like, look, I'll give you some money, you can buy yourself a car or something, or I'll take you on a holiday, you go alone. You benefit alone. The union as an organization does not benefit, right? But the benefit that you told me about, where the shop steward says, look, I've got members in Cape Town, we're in Joburg, I've got members in Cape Town. Can you just, buy me a ticket to go to Cape Town, to go service the union and get more members for the organization?
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? So are you talking about both types of benefits?
They would go to Cape Town, for instance, to recruit members that are in this problematic union to join their union so that the company can have less problems. So we would be seen as problem people. So the company is likely to agree to say, no, it's fine because this is a business trip. I'm going to book you a hotel for the whole week. The company is going to pay. So that's a mini vacation. This is what I'm talking about. And these things are happening. I almost wanted to say we suspect, but from the looks of things, even before wage negotiations, when you're supposed to arrive at the place where negotiations would take place, you would arrive not the same time as everybody else, but you will arrive there maybe a day or 2 days before.
Okay.
Why is that? Because you will be in a process of strategizing with management so that you understand what it is that management expects to be signed during the wage negotiations. And there are also instances where we discuss issues as as joint labor. But in the morning when we wake up, management already knows what you have discussed as joint labor without them having the info. I mean, these things happened. I'm telling you, it happened like this year. And there was a lot of,
So tell me something. During this joint labor, when the two unions in the same workplace are coming together now, preparing to go and sit down with the employers, that joint labor arrangement, the disagreements that come up there, are they usually genuine disagreements, or are they sort of more grandstanding type of disagreements?
It is genuine. It is genuine. It's genuine disagreements, because now we just to make an example, we had a situation where we had agreed during the joint labor caucus to say, if management does not come to the table with what we want, and this is the mandate from the members, then we are going to declare a dispute. We'll deadlock, declare dispute with the CCMA or any of the statutory bodies. Now, you see, now they had a spokesperson, they had a chairperson from the very union, and the spokesperson was from the same union. So because there's 3 unions, none of the other 2 unions had a role to play other than, participating in the joint labor caucus. Now, we had agreed, we go to give management our position, and to my surprise, management does not come to the table, but yet the people that were supposed to indicate to management that because you don't are not acceding to our...
Yeah, we're going to deadlock.
Yes, we are now going to deadlock.
But they didn't do that.
It's like to management that we are now going to deadlock. And I was surprised because in actual fact, I had my laptop in front of me because I know that this is what we had agreed upon, and this is what is going to be executed. We've got a chairperson from that union. The same union has a spokesperson. Now they know what they are supposed to do. So I did not bother because I knew that the message was clear and I was busy on the laptop, only to find that we had to break for lunch. And I heard management saying, we will give you our
answer
position after lunch. We break for lunch and I'm asking, but hang on, what just happened now? Because according to our agreement there, we're supposed to declare dispute.
If we don't come to an agreement.
And they did not do that. Yes, there was that agreement, but that was not executed. And then a colleague says to me, no, the other person from that union said, no, let Aizek be the one. I did not hear because I was concentrating. They were talking amongst themselves, let Aizek do the feedback. Because they know that if I had done that, I was going to declare dispute and we were going to go to the CCMA. Now, after that, we were told by management to go and persuade our members. We are coming from the members with a position of the company and our position. We go and negotiate, and the company says, go back with the same position that you took to the members and tell them that this is a good increase. Now, I even said, how do we go back to the members with the same? They gave us a mandate. Now, they said, go and do that. We come back without doing that and say, no, but the company still says they're not going to do that. What was the agreement? What was the mandate? The mandate was if the company does not accept, then you declare dispute, you get a certificate to go and strike. That never happened. Up to a point where they changed the whole setup, because the whole makeup of what happens there is that numbers are going to talk and say, if we have so many numbers that agree to the increase, and those numbers are higher than those that don't agree, the majority rule. And that has always been the case. And this time around, the numbers that did not agree that ought to have declared a dispute were higher.
Yeah.
Majority ruled. And then we were told that we must go back and persuade. And I even said, if we go back, chances are some of those will come and say, no, we are now also agreeing to that. And then we'll come back being less than what we were when we were supposed to declare a dispute. And this is exactly what happened. But when we did number crunching, we were a difference of 5 employees, more of those who said, let's go, we disagreed and let's go for a dispute and so on. But the problem was where in one of the plants where that union has a majority, those were in line with our thinking. So they aligned themselves with our thinking as to, we're not going to take that offer from management. But just because it is a majority of their union, they then decided to use the majority status to sign the agreement.
Jeez.
And management did not care for as long as the agreement is signed, they're going to save a lot of millions that they may be losing if there had to be a strike, and so on, which was unfair because they changed the mandate of their own members. And that's what made the members to resign from that union, because they did not follow instructions.
So this is the last question for the session. And this question basically goes back to what we discussed. You mentioned that unions sometimes try to assure the jobs of their members by getting a commitment from the employer to not retrench any worker for a period of 12 months, right? My question, so this basically answers my question as to how bargaining agreements benefit and sort of improve the job security of the worker. My question is, how do they arrive at a period of 12 months? Firstly, 12 months, how do they decide that 12 months is long enough to basically make someone comfortable that their future or their short-term future is secure? And I understand short-term is within 12 months. But is that enough for a person who's maybe only got this salary to feed their family? That there is a chance that come next year, there is that possibility that you might not have a job, right? So is 12 months long enough? And how do they arrive at 12 months? Because I don't think it's long enough, according to me.
Yeah, certainly not. Basically is arrived at, with this principle of your wage negotiations or your wage agreement is valid for 12 months. So for that particular wage agreement, because the 12 months will be within the signing of the wage agreement, which is valid for 12 months. For that period of the wage agreement, so every year when we negotiate, we review everything. So the wage agreement of the previous year is reviewed the following year through wage negotiations. And part of the demands would then be our members should not be retrenched for the next period of 12 months. So if wage agreement is implemented the 1st of April, it will be valid from the 1st of April to the 31st of March
next year. Yeah.
So for the following year, for that period, there should not be any retrenchments. So it gets reviewed every year. Every year you come with the same mandate in terms of securing employees' jobs every year. And management buys into it, and they know, because they've got a forecast that they do. They know that they've made more billions than they have actually anticipated, so they can agree to that.
Just as a follow-up, do unions, is there a law that prevents unions from trying to prolong that period rather than it being looked at every year? Because I think I've heard in the news where they say sometimes they sign agreements that span 5 years and so on.
Yes, multi-agreement. Okay, there's sometimes we would say we negotiate. The mandate would be for 12 months, or the wage agreement would be for 12 months. We'll say these are our demands. The scope of the agreement should be for 12 months. Management would come and say and negotiate. Now remember, they also come with input and say, okay, you as union said 12 months, but we are willing to give you so much for a period of 24 months or a period of 36 months. It depends on, what is on the table. We have instances, for instance, where I have negotiated an agreement which lasts for 3 years. But the catch with that is, let's just say your inflation is good at 1 year or within that period, and you do not say this is the percentage that you agree, or inflation. Because if you say 5% and your inflation the following year is 7%, then
they're allowed to break the agreement.
Yeah, there will be that gap that you will. So you will say it's either this or that. So it is 6%, or whichever inflation, whichever is greater. If you put it like that, then it will work. But if you just sign an agreement in the following year, the inflation, it's good. The CPI is, higher than what you were getting the previous year, and you did not mention that in the agreement, then you are in trouble, especially when it's a multi-year agreement.